So I got a question for Jay as well. So, what was the biggest fear that you had when you started creating the book? Because I can imagine that there were a lot of thoughts going through your head, like, what if this fails, or if I don't get this out? What? So I was kind of curious about that thought process
Fears.
or worries.
There was a lot of fears. Of course, the fear of failure, the fear of putting out an actual like dog crap, thing that nobody liked. There's because no one knew me as like someone that can make a book. That's Jay that talks about Star Wars on YouTube, right?
Mm.
So I think some of the biggest fears, um, I think the biggest fears is to be laughed at when you've
Mm.
like stayed up for like countless nights working on something and laughing at it like a joke is one thing and people meme and all that. Like, listen, when I started advertising it, Achromatic Chronicles Blue, and there's like a blue ball, the jokes were flying. Jay's talking about
Mhm.
blue balls. I
I
laughed
saw
at
them.
it. I'm
Yeah.
okay with it. I know they weren't attacking. I just know the internet, right? Like they're good,
Mhm,
like
yeah.
that's fine, all that stuff. But I think like the genuine laughter of like, boy, this guy put all this stuff together and it's this bad. Like, wow, what an embarrassment. Like that to me was a fear. And I think that's why I took my time um to put the very, very best product I had, out there. Um, that was a fear. That was a pretty big fear.
That's
For
understandable.
that. But it also was around the time where Gina Carano got fired, and she said, you know, we're gonna create our own stuff. Welcome to the rebellion, and that's what kicked off this whole catchphrase, and that's what I've been trying to inspire others. It's like it's not like a political statement. It's more like we all have fears and we have to rebel against them,
Mhm.
So what is your fear? Like what do you need to rebel against to do, that you have to accomplish in life? So a lot of
Mhm.
people are like, "Oh, he's trying to be political." It's like it's not, it's a personal
It's not
thing.
political. Yeah.
Um it can be, I guess, for some people, but it's just like it's more of like we all have fears that we struggle with. Fear of like what if we go out in public and we wear something that's like what are people going to say about me when I go out? Whatever it is. Fear
Mm.
of rejection, fear of this, fear of that, and it's like we got to rebel against them and just hit it head on. The truth of the matter is that you could be the nicest person in the world and give away money and people will still find a way to hate you. They just will.
Mhm.
And there's
There's always a way.
no, and we could chase them our entire life to try to get them to like them, and that's pointless, wasted energy. There also will be people that will support your dreams, and that's the circle that you need to begin to create. I tell this story all the time, and it is my favorite, I guess, parable because it taught me a lot. There's a story about a gardener and a guy who owns a garden, and the gardener went to the guy and he said, "You see that?" I'm just gonna say apple tree. It was like a fig tree. But he's like, "See that apple tree out there? It ain't growing any apples." And he goes, so the gardener's like, "Let me just cut it." The owner says, "Why don't you just cut it down and throw it away? Like, just get rid of it." And the gardener says, "You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna dig out the dirt around it. I'm gonna replace it with good soil and watch that tree grow." And there's a lot of meaning to that, but for me personally, there was a point in my life where I had to dig out like the bad relationships and stuff that were around me at that certain time of people that were just not lifting me up when I needed them. I guess you'd say, like even before I was on YouTube and stuff, and you have to dig them out of your life.
Mm.
And it's, if you've ever seen someone like try to save a tree and dig around the roots, it is a painful, hard, difficult process.
Mhm.
It isn't about like just digging a hole and replacing it. And you watch these people do that. I watched it. I watched a video of this guy doing it. It took him hours because you had to be careful and dig around the roots, and they're well in there and get the dirt all the way from underneath the tree, and then replace it with good soil so the tree will start growing again.
Mhm.
And it's like man, so many of us need to apply that to our own life. Like, it's just, there's certain things that we're clinging on to, and it might not even be people. It just could be things that we're addictions and stuff like that. And we have got to, before we can grow into who we need to be, we really got to dig that stuff out and replace it with something else. And when you get to that point in life, you'd be amazed on how fast you flourish and grow, like, and the dreams that you had, and how beautiful life is, you know, and just how awesome it is, and the people that are around you. It's really something. So yeah, that's my sermon for the day. There it is.
Thank you for coming to Jay's TED Talk.
Yeah.
No.
That's
No.
awesome. Thank you so much.
Dude, no, really, Jay, thank you so much for just sharing that, because I think we do need this, because the world is dark and mankind is dark, and we just need to have that glimmer of hope of someone believing in us. Like, we need a song, or in this case, we need a book for the underdogs to, you know, rise up and, like, you know what, I need to go out there. I need to go. Someone said in the chat earlier, touch grace instead of touch grass. I need to go get that for myself, because you're not being kind on yourself you're not being kind to you. You're being too hard, and, you know, you're getting all this negative stuff, the mindset, versus getting up, walking away, and making something for yourself. I love to hear all of this that you're sharing.